Hi, I'm Dana, and today I really want to make a video about sort of events and planning things for autistic people, because in February of 2020 I bought a ticket to see Alanis Morissette, probably the worst possible time to buy a gig ticket, so it got rescheduled many times for obvious reasons, and then it got rescheduled to the same day that I was meant to see my favourite band, and I was like, crap, I'm gonna have to sell this ticket and get a different date. And then the drummer of my favourite band died. So I was like, guess I'm free that day, after all. And now, today is the day. Today's the day that I was going to see Alanis Morissette. I had to sort a lift because the train strikes are on, so I had to contact my boss and be like, I'm really sorry about this, but I really need a lift. You're the only person I know that can drive. And I sorted all of that. I was fully ready, got up this morning and did my hair for it. And then got an email that it's been rescheduled again. I've already cried about it, so we're not doing that again. But it's inspired this whole video because I already get so stressed when I have an event coming up. That's what we're gonna call this. I am gonna talk about social stuff and that in a while. But right now I just want to talk about specifically when you plan a big event as an autistic person. For me, I get anxious immediately. Even if it's a year away, I immediately have an extra little bit of anxiety of crap, on this day in the future my routine's gonna be different. I'm gonna have to do different things. I'm gonna have to plan an itinerary for travel and getting there and getting home, and it's all gonna be real fucking stressful for 2 hours of joy, and then it can still just be cancelled and rescheduled anyway. And obviously on this occasion it absolutely sucks for everyone because a bunch of people have already gone there because of the train strikes and so on and so forth. But especially for autistic people, it's I have been planning this in my head. I've been literally planning it. I had to try and get train tickets multiple different occasions when I thought it was gonna be on. And it's a case of my brain can only focus on so many things. Like anyone's, my brain can really only focus on so many things. So adding something like this, I've been stressing about this for weeks, even before I knew there were going to be train strikes and everything. Because anything outside of my routine is extra energy that my brain has to put into remembering, planning, so on and so forth, making sure I'm ready for it, preparing for it mentally, as well as doing all of the actual preparation that needs to go in so that I can actually get to the place and do the thing. And personally, I've always done big events like gigs and Comic-Con and stuff alone, purely also because I don't really have that many people to invite, but mostly because I do not want to have to schedule it for everyone. I cannot handle the stress of the way that neurotypical people plan things. The one time I was going to go to a gig with someone, they were like, oh, I'll just meet you there. And I was like, okay, but where do you want to meet? And they were just at the venue. And I'm like, okay, but it's a stadium. Where do you want to meet? There's multiple different entrances. There's a million things going on. It's very overwhelming. There's lots of people. I need to know the exact time and the exact place that we're going to meet. But neurotypicals don't like doing that. And even if you're gonna go to the place with someone, get the train together and everything, the extra stress of are you gonna be there? Because I'm not hanging around and missing my train waiting for you. Outside of all of that, there's still the fact that it's outside my routine, which means I have to decide, am I going to try to shove all of my routine into the bits of the day that I can, usually the morning. I will wake up early. I will wake up 3 hours earlier than I need to make sure I get my morning routine done before going somewhere, because it just gives me that extra little bit of things are okay. I've done my normal stuff. My routine isn't completely different, but it does have to be rejigged in order to do the event, do this thing that I've planned. And it's overwhelming and it's difficult, and it makes me really anxious because if I don't do it beforehand, I will come home at 12 o'clock at night after a gig and be like, oh god, I've got to hoover and do the dishes and do this and do this and do this because I didn't do it this morning. Oh my god. And I'll stay up super late, way beyond where I really should, to get things done, because otherwise it hasn't been done. I feel awful and anxious and terrible. So whereas other people can just finish their normal work day and go to a gig, it is impossible for me. I know it is, because back when I was working the last job that I did, I had a gig in Liverpool, so I was I don't need to take a day off. It's only in Liverpool and I work close enough to the city centre that I can just walk into town. It'll be completely fine. But then flash to the day and I've done my normal routine, I've had my normal work day. I would normally then come home and be super tired and just watch YouTube or Netflix. And instead, I had to change that routine and go to this gig. And it got to the point where I was so torn between if I even wanted to go to this anymore, if I was even actually going to enjoy it anymore, versus just going home and resuming my normal routine, that I ended up sitting in like this little courtyard area that we had at work and just sitting there like in silence for probably about an hour, because I just couldn't decide. My brain couldn't make the decision. I was so tired and overwhelmed from the change and just anxious and like just pure autism brain, like on the verge of a meltdown or a shutdown or something. I just could not make this decision for the life of me. And eventually someone I was working with like found me there and was like, are you okay? And I explained the situation. They were like, yo, don't go, don't put yourself through this, go home and like look after yourself. And I was like, okay. But it was, you know, my brain just can't handle all of these different things in one day, basically. And I really regretted missing out on that gig, but I also know if I'd gone, I would not have enjoyed it. Because like even fairly recently, I went to see Alice Cooper and I'd sort of scheduled to have a very, very relaxed day beforehand. But then when the day actually came, just stuff kept happening, life just happened. So I had all these various things that I did during the day. And then I got on the train and I went to the gig and I tried really hard to enjoy it, you know, and afterwards I didn't want to admit that I hadn't enjoyed this thing that I'd been planning and excited for like a year and a half. So I was like, oh my God, best gig ever, loved that. But the truth of it was that I'd spent all of the opening acts with earplugs in because it was just too much. Taking them out for Alice Cooper and being like, I love Alice Cooper and I love Nita Strauss and I'm so glad I'm here. You know, that's the thing that really sucks, is that you can end up in such a place of overwhelm that even though you're there, you've made it, you're doing the thing, you may as well not, because I couldn't process a single second of it. Like I couldn't process any of it. And I was just so relieved to get on the train to be going home and know that I was gonna get home. Like that's the big thing for me. I really struggle to even enjoy the thing that I'm doing that's out of my routine, because up until I'm like on the train on my way home knowing everything's gone well, I'm so terrified something's gonna go horrifically wrong. And obviously some of that is my anxiety, but some of it's also like the autism brain of just, lots of things do go wrong, you know, lots of things get rescheduled, lots of things get cancelled. I've had way too many times that I've almost ended up like stuck overnight in Manchester with no idea what I'm doing. And I don't want to make out it's all negative, because like the Foo Fighters are the best band I've ever seen live. I've seen them twice, and if all had gone to plan, I'd have seen them a third and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth time, you know? And I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy those gigs. I've been at the front barrier both times that I saw the Foo Fighters. Oh. But again, like that's been a time where that's been my day. I've woken up in the morning, I've done my little tiny morning routine as quickly as I could, and then got on the train to Manchester for like 10 a.m. so that I can just wait outside all day to be at the barrier. You know, I'm not overwhelmed at that because I've shortened my routine, I've gotten everything done, so I don't need to be anxious about it. I'm about to see my favourite goddamn band that I fixate so much on and like absolutely adore. I'm surrounded by other people that are fans of this band, which completely lowers the social awkwardness. Like being able to turn to someone and be like, so my favourite album's Waste of Might, what's yours? You know, and then you've got a conversation going. It's heaven for an autistic person, I think, being at gigs, because you can just strike up a conversation with anyone else that's on their own because you know you have this similar interest. And as much as I've talked about how hard it is and how overwhelming it is, it also, you know, like, autistic people can do whatever we put our minds to, more or less. You know, like, you might not believe it from how anxious I get and how much I'm talking about just getting the train to Manchester stresses me out. But I did in like 2019 go all the way to London to see Bikini Kill on my own, on the coach. And it was terrifying. I was absolutely petrified. I've never been so scared. Getting the coach home at night, like overnight coach, getting in for like fucking 4 a.m. One of the weirdest, most routine breaking, just like meltdown worthy things I've ever done. I had such a headache from all of the noise of just the vehicle. It was a combined nightmare and dream to see Bikini Kill live. But you know, like, we can do these things. Like, if we want to do something, we can, like, 9 times out of 10 do it. But at the same time, I do think it's important to acknowledge that there's times when it just goes wrong. There's times when you don't make it to the event or the gig or whatever. And, you know, it happens. But I think we've come to time to talk about, like, social plans, because that's where I've just given up, to be honest with you. I haven't attempted to make social plans with anyone in a very long time. And if I have, it's been a very simple, like, we should hang out sometime, we should get coffee sometime. You know, it's not like a plan. I'm not actually planning it. It's what I think neurotypicals might say to try and like get rid of people or put out the idea that like I'm being friendly but I don't actually want to hang, except I actually do and people aren't picking up on that. But I just found that planning any sort of like group events, social events, any sort of like even a one-on-one coffee date, I just fucking hate it, because I try very hard at this point to just communicate. Like, it's difficult. I don't always like telling people like I feel this way so I'm going to do this or whatever else. I find it very difficult to communicate how I want things to be and what I need and so on and so forth. I'm not a good communicator, but I'm trying to be better. So I'm trying very hard to be the person that just comes out with it, you know? But when I've had poor reactions. And what I mean by this is that, like, say last time this happened, it was before COVID. Like, it's been that long since I've actually tried to make a friend. But I'd invited a girl to go out for coffee, just a little coffee catch up. Like, we'd worked together, we knew each other reasonably well, so it was just a little catch up, you know. And I was like, okay, so do you want to meet me outside the Starbucks at this time, like this Starbucks at this place at this time? And they were like, yeah, sure. So then I get there and I'm like, they're not here. Okay, I'll message them. They're inside. They're inside. I love it. Because I don't know about anyone else, but it's similar to the whole thing of I hate getting up to go to the bathroom in a restaurant or whatever, but I hate walking into a place and having to like be like, time to just look around and hope I spot this person despite the fact that I'm shit at recognising faces. Just gotta look around and look at all these people and possibly make accidental eye contact with someone to find the person that I'm here to meet. And I hate it. Like, I won't lie to you, but there's been times that I've been supposed to meet up with people for coffee, and because they've already gone in, I've gotten to the place, I am there, and I've messaged them and been like, sorry, I can't make it. And they're like, but I'm already here. And I'm like, I know, but I can't make it. And I've just gone home again despite being at the place, because I don't want to have to deal with walking in and looking around for them. I fucking despise it. But it's again the whole thing of like, I can give what I think are like the most clear, explicit instructions, and they're not understood. And like, it sounds shitty because I don't want to be the friend that gives people instructions, you know? I don't want to be that person. Like, I'm not going to instruct you on what to do. But if you're meeting up with me, please just meet me at the place and fucking time that we said. Like, I'll allow you being 10 minutes late, you know? And like, I've had some friends that have like ADHD or they've got a kid, and it's like, you can be half hour late, I get it, you know? Like, I'm not a complete twat. But try, please. Try to meet me at the right time in the right place. Don't just fucking go in and I've asked you to meet me outside. You know, and even once you've met them, I've planned to have coffee with you. Don't finish your cup of coffee and be like, shall we go here and do this and then go here and do this and then go here. You should have suggested this, you know? Like, if I've messaged you and been like, hey, do you want to go out for a coffee? You've said yes, so you want to see me. This is the perfect time to say, hey, and how about afterwards we do this? How about afterwards we give this a go? And I'll be like, yeah, that sounds great. Can't wait. I'm preparing for it. I've planned for it. I know that's going to happen. Sounds fab. But people just suggest things. And this is another one that's like similar to my whole like touch aversion thing, where it's like the odd person. I'm like, no, you're fine. You're okay. You can just like suggest we meet up like half hour before we meet up and I'll be there. Like, I don't know what it is about certain people. It just don't bother me with some people. I'm pretty sure I've said everything I have to say for this video, because I am literally making it because I had my day planned and now I don't know what to do with it. And oh God, that's actually another good one to speak about, isn't it? Because if something's been cancelled or rescheduled, you then have to figure out what the fuck you're doing in the time that you'd scheduled for it. And personally, I spend a long time in the lead up to things, like just waiting for the thing to happen. Like, I had a dentist appointment at like 12 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and I spent all morning just sort of waiting for it. So if they'd cancelled at like 11:30, that's my whole morning gone, thanks a lot. But you know, that applies to things with friends as well. Like, if I'm meeting up with you for coffee at 4, I'm not doing shit all before then. You know, I will get up, I'll do my little morning routine that I need to have done to feel good about life. I will get ready to see you, and then I will wait until it's time to see you. I'm not going to be filming a video. I'm not going to be like indulging in a special interest. I'm going to be just filling time until it's the right time to go see you. So if you then cancel like 2 hours before, I've done fuck all until 2 p.m. because I was waiting to see you. And obviously that's not the person's fault, it's a me issue, but it still sucks, you know? No matter how much an issue is a you issue, it still sucks to have it as an issue. It just means that no one else has to cater to it. But with that said, I think that does round up everything I actually wanted to get said in this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below. I think this is one of the areas where autistic people do react really differently to each other. Like, I'm forever pointing out that all autistic people are different, but I think the like changes in plans and events and stuff, like I know some autistic people that do lots and lots and lots of events, and it's almost part of their routine to be doing it. So they're very, very, very talented and good and don't seem to get stressed by it at all. So I think this is one of the areas where there's like a lot of diversity between us, and I'd especially really like to hear different opinions. Obviously, if your thoughts and opinions are very similar to mine, I still want to hear them. I'm not like, no, I've said your bit. Like, I'd love to hear you too. But I just think there's a lot of diversity and reactions in this area specifically. Like, there's diversity between autistic people everywhere because we are all different, obviously. But especially here, I think a lot of us react differently and cope differently, and it's interesting. I don't want to be that person. It's like, I'm unique. But I think it is quite unique that, like, such a diverse age group and, like, different genders and so on and so forth all comment on my videos. And I think that you guys really help me to form better opinions, because the things that you comment, you know, they come with, like, years upon years of experience and knowledge and wisdom that I don't have. And I'm thrilled that you're here to share it with, like, not only me but everyone else that reads the comments. And I love that you comment on other people's comments and, like, help them out. I've been really enjoying, like, more so than ever, reading the comments lately, and that's saying a lot because I've always really loved and appreciated any comments that you guys leave. But recently especially, I'm just like, I love you guys that comment on my videos. I think you're all, like, really fucking great, and I really appreciate it. God, I've been getting soppy a lot lately, but I just, you know, like, my life isn't great right now, and you've really been giving me a lot of, like, comfort and joy and so much understanding and compassion and empathy, and it's absolutely blown me away because it's not something you normally experience on the internet. So I very much appreciate that. And I'm finally going to shut up. So whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I'll see you again in a few days.